The flavor of today. Walking back right now home after spending some time out. A little bit of socializing. Lounging around. Taking in the sights. Seeing what's going on. You know, the importance of that is, in my opinion, paramount. Got to be aware of what's going on around you. The people, what are they like? How are they behaving, right? Is it something that's pandemonia, or is it some type of order? Usually, it's more of the latter than the former, though occasionally you will get some of the former. And that's to be expected, right? Because, well, if I've learned anything from my time on this earth, it's that there's always a little bit of chaos in the midst of order, and a little bit of order in the midst of chaos. I say all this, and I don't know if recount is the right word, but reflect, perhaps that's a better word, on all this, because that's, well, the flavor of today. It's funny, as I'm walking back right now, I'm just, like, many thoughts have gone through my mind of, like, what am I doing? Why am I doing what I'm doing? And should I have said this? Should I have not said this? Why did I say this? Why didn't I say this? All of these things that it's like, I'm thinking about that bill, or I've got whatever going on, right? And there's nothing that I could possibly do to really stop the mind from doing that to some degree. I think that's partly the function of my mind, is to just be aware of all of these different little things. And perhaps that's true, perhaps that's not. I don't know. I'm not like a 10th degree level Buddhist monk, right? And even then, I'm sure they might, I don't know, I can't speak for them, right? But I could only imagine that they'd be like, oh yeah, that kind of stuff might happen to me too. I don't know. But what I do know is my own experience. And so that's the flavor of today, right? Is like all of these questions and noticing it, being okay with it, knowing that that's normal. Every human being that I know has this type of questioning in some way, shape, or form. Perhaps they express it outwardly, perhaps they don't, but you can kind of, at least I can kind of tell, perhaps, like, I don't know, you just get a sense after talking to so many different people over long periods of time, whether the relationship be very strong, whether it be a very shallow relationship. People are people, and that's the way people operate, so I can't do anything about that. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but that's the flavor of today, you know? And I'm okay with it. More and more, I'm becoming more okay with it. That's part of being a human being. That is part of being a human being. Whether we think it is or not, it's recognizing that most of the things that I think are abnormal are actually pretty normal. Truly. So anyways, that's what's going on with me today. I'm walking back right now, and I'm enjoying that I get outside, that I spend this time, that I walk along the road that I so frequently have driven along. It's a different perspective on the same road. I get to be able to really see and stop by the houses and, like, observe the intricacies of them, if they have any. Some don't. But almost every house does, right? Every little thing has some intricacies to it. Even if I look at the road itself, it's like, oh, there's a little crack on the road over here. I've never noticed that before. And what's the purpose of that, right? Like, in the grand scheme of things, what will that matter? Well, in the grand scheme of things, what will any of this matter? That's one of the things I've come to understand more and more. The little thoughts that go and perhaps maybe bother me or take my attention away, in the grand scheme of things, centuries down the road, doesn't even matter, right? So it's becoming more, for me, I'm becoming more aware of that. And to that degree, almost enjoying every little moment, every little thought, every little nuance, if you will, that I observe in my life. I'm learning to not take things so seriously, because that's one thing, speaking for myself historically, that would be one thing I would do quite often. So I would take so many things seriously, and that perhaps I'm a little bit more of a serious person than most. Perhaps I'm not. Perhaps I'm the most comical guy in the world. I don't know. It just depends on the perspective, right? You compare me against a very, very serious person, you're like, oh, that guy, he's a little not so serious. But you compare me against, like, the biggest comedian in the world, and it's like, that guy, he's pretty stuck up, he's pretty serious, you know? So I don't really know. It's all in context. It's all in perspective. And that's kind of what today is about. The flavor of today is perspective. So I just say all of this to say all of this, and to recognize it, and to be aware of it, and to enjoy it, and to just talk. I've found that why not talk, right? Why not express ourselves? Why not say what's on our minds to whomever is listening? Because, I mean, what else am I going to do with my life, right? Right? What are we going to do with our life other than that, right? Otherwise, we're just going to be a bunch of quiet people being like... And I couldn't even do that any longer than I wanted to because it was slightly uncomfortable. Which could be, it's like, all right, maybe this is the time where it's like, do a little bit more of that because it is uncomfortable. But, I don't know. I think this is a good place to stop. I think this is a good place to leave it. And I didn't even start with Akash INTI, the real reflection of you today. Why? And that was a conscious choice because I just wasn't feeling that today. You know, I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to cut through that. Maybe I put it in at some point during this whole video. Maybe I don't at all. But that's where we leave ourselves today. Anyways, keep up, thrive, and stay sexy.